Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I have the opportunity to work on an oldie but a goodie. It's been sent in by Carrie in California. It's an Ocean City Bay Ciry reel. Looks like whoever had the Ocean City Bay Ciry reel either replaced the sticker on it or it fell off and they re-glued it upside down. Not a problem. So there is a problem with this reel. You can see it's stumbling a little bit here. The spool is spinning fine, and it's not terribly out of adjustment. But there's a stick in here. Well, this one, let's guess. Let's play along, see if I'm right. It either feels like a broken piece of line inside, or something clogged in one of the gears. We also do not have an anti-reverse. Maybe it's the anti-reverse that's clogging up the whole thing, the broken piece. Okay, well, we're going to show you how this reel was made. The reel was made before 1957. How do we know that? Well, Ocean City stopped branding their reels in 1957 as Ocean City. They were sold off to True Temper. True Temper, well, they continued the Ocean City piece for a little while, but it was Ocean City by True Temper. And then, well, it just became True Temper and then eventually went out of business in the 1970s. All right, the nice thing about this reel is it comes with a handle wrench. You notice that I used a screwdriver to take it off, and that was locking in that handle nut. And then you use that wrench to remove the screw. We've got pieces that we take off. I like to put them into a parts tray. And well, while I'm doing this, I also want to encourage you, if you like these types of videos, to subscribe to my channel. And if you do subscribe to my channel, please use the notification button. That'll let you know when I'm posting, and you can see if it's a reel that you like to see service or like to learn more about. Okay, we've got a couple of things going on that we know about. We've seen that the reel does not have an anti-reverse. We also see that there's a skip when you are reeling it. So let's see what's causing that to happen. Well, what's causing that to happen is probably inside this case and not anything to do with the spool. Sometimes when you get a skip like that, it does happen because there's a bent frame, but there's no indication of a bent frame as far as I can see here. Everything seems to be pretty solid and straightforward. It looks as if the reel has been maintained. I am noticing that it looks like it's been cleaned. So all of those things are important in terms of clues, in terms of what's going on. And well, let's just go figure this one out. There are some different screws here, so just pay attention to it when you're doing it. There's longer and shorter screws. Whoever did this the last time wasn't paying attention, because you'll see there's a longer screw that's protruding here. That's where the short screws belong. And I thought so because when I was taking this screw out here, it didn't come out all the way. So that shorter screw belongs over where I'm taking this one out now. And the longer screw reaches deeper into that side crossbar there. And the ones that are shorter, they go into the reel seat so that they don't protrude and they don't cause an issue with line getting tangled on. All right, well, there's the big reveal. Well, there's nothing much of any consequence other than the anti-reverse dog is either not set or misset. I'm seeing it flopping here. So we're going to have to see. I'm thinking we're probably going to need a part to make this work. That's a beautiful inside of the reel. This reel has not been used much, and as a result, it's nice and clean. All right, let's take this bridge off and figure it out. Fortunately for Carrie, I think if we are going to need a part, I probably have that part. The only way you can get the parts now is by finding donor reels, and well, from time to time I pick up these Ocean City reels. They're not working, and I take the parts so that I can use them on the next reel. All right, there's a couple of different things. I've taken off the 4 screws. 2 of you probably didn't need to take out, but sometimes you do. And then the 2 on the bottom are the bigger ones. They're for the bridge. The 2 on the top, they hold these little pivot points. I probably should put them back in. They're the smaller ones. You don't need to remove these. Well, you know what? I'm going to leave them out because I think I have to swing the bridge when I go to reinstall that side plate. Sometimes the spring is on it, sometimes it's not. I think we can push the bridge out here. Let's take off the adjuster. So no evidence of broken line here, but evidence that that anti-reverse dog that's failing has gotten in the way. These are those 2 pivot points I was referring to. Here's the stud for that anti-reverse dog, no spring. That spring is going to go on the back of the piece here. Let's get this out of the way. Okay, so here's what we have. Let's just catalog this as we go to put this back in. These 2 big springs are going to go on these posts for the yoke. So I'm going to wrap those into 2 posts. These 2 smaller springs are going to go in the cavity here. So I'll put those off to the side. This is your pinion gear. That's going to go into the carrier like this. We can put that off to the side for a moment as well. And now we have the anti-reverse dog. So the anti-reverse dog is going to sit in here like this. You have a little bullet here, but you need the spring on the back end of it. That appears to be what's missing on this. And then we have our bridge. So we're going to rebuild the whole reel. We'll find that replacement spring, and we'll get this one going again. All right, that can go off to the side. This is our release lever that came out of the case. Don't worry about that. All right, with the case. Let's just move this side because you want to take a look here. Make sure that there's no line entangled here. Well, it's very interesting. We have cross posts that show an awful lot of use, but when we get underneath it, it doesn't look like it's been used at all. This one makes me wonder if this wasn't some kind of a backup reel, and the backup reel wound up sitting on a boat in a saltwater environment, and took its toll on the spray, the sea mists and the like, spraying the posts, causing corrosion, but never being the direct result of having gone fishing. That's quite possible. Okay, probably going to have to shut the camera off for just a moment. I have a parts box, dutifully labeled Ocean City. I'm going to have to go find it. And we're going to have to see if I can find the spring or this little dog pivot here. Okay, we got lucky. We found the anti-reverse dog and spring. You can see how they would, they're the same. The spring goes on the tip. Let's see if we can just remove that spring. Put it on the other one. There you go. We have a functional spring. Now this one, interestingly enough, is thin enough in consistency that you could bush fix this if you needed to. You could probably find the spring from a pen or another type of spring, cigarette lighter or something that's a light spring like that. You could manage to restore that and well, make it go again. Well, that's the last spring I have, so we'll have to deal with this. I was looking for replacement posts along the way. I didn't find that. All right, we're going to take the grease. We'll get the grease into the back bushing so that when you install the spool, that spool will spin freely. Checking for cleanliness on this. As I mentioned, this has been cleaned again, so no cleaning seems to be needed here. A little bit of grease on both sides. We'll put the spool back in here to keep those assemblies kind of separate. And let's go over and see what we have going on this. I'm thinking that the drag washers on this one may be compromised. Not sure. I'll try and get this off now. The little stud here that holds that shaft in is a little proud. I'm just going to push it out at the moment. When you service the reel, you should pull this out so that you can clean the shaft underneath. So let's go ahead and do that. That'll pull that off. Let's not lose that pin. Now we can push our main gear off. Yeah, I think we're going to want to replace these drag washers, and the good thing about these drag washers is they're the same size as the Penn Long Beach drag washers, Long Beach 60 and 65. So we'll just be able to swap them out and make sure that this reel is up to spec. Good place to tell you to take pictures. I'm familiar with this reel, so I kind of am able to move around a little bit more. But if you're not familiar with the reel, you certainly want to take the pictures. This is a big old solid one, isn't it? Yeah, this is the asbestos washer, so we're going to leave that right in there. That's a thicker version of the washer and the drag system. Okay, we've cleaned the post. We're going to put a little grease on the post. We're going to put the gear sleeve back on. You can find the hole for our pin that's going to hold it in place. Push that all the way through so you can clear the main gear with it. Sometimes you can use the assistive pliers will do it. You need to make sure that this is all the way down, otherwise you saw, you won't be able to get the main gear through. All right, check all the teeth on the main gear. If there's a issue with this, pull it through. Get all the old dirt that's in there out of there. Just using a hard brush for that. And we can put some grease onto that once we're done checking it, cleaning it. We can lubricate it. And then we can put it back over the gear sleeve. Next up, make sure that your metal washer, this is a single drag, is clear. I'm looking here, that was a little bit tight in terms of the clearance. So I'm going to use that washer that was on the star adjuster as an additional spacer, because you're going to have room in the case to do that. I'll go grab another one of those washers. Easier said than done sometimes. There it is. That's my little box of Ocean City. We're going to put that underneath the gear sleeve, and that'll give us plenty of room for clearance there, and then your gear sleeve is going to go on. Okay, one more thing I want to do before we put all of this back together again is I want to take my little kitchen scrubby pad and clean what you can't get to easily when the side plate is on the reel. That's all these little crevices in here that have got a little bit of a film left on them. Well, if you have any questions on this reel or any reel, maybe you're working on one and you're a little stuck, maybe you want to know a little bit more about the reels or the reel histories, just leave them in the comment section. I will try to answer those for you. All right, first thing up I think we're going to do is we'll put the bridge in with the anti-reverse set correctly. And in my tray I put those bridge screws off to the side so that I can get that done correctly. So let's come over here The inside of the case is clean. Again, if there wasn't, you would certainly want to take a moment to clean that. A little bit of grease into the bushing on that side. One of the big screws then is going to go here for that anti-reverse dog. We're going to take our bridge. We're going to set it over the top like this. Fortunately, that anti-reverse dog did not get damaged in all of that process. I'm going to grab the spring and dog now. We need to seat that into the cavity so that it's kind of pressed in just like that. Then we can swing the bridge over. Make sure you center the screw. And we can tighten this down. We can install the other bridge screw. And then we can test. Well, we got that click, click, click going, and we've got it where it's not interfering with anything by coming loose. And that spacer underneath is fine. All right, we'll put the one way or another that's going to fall out. Take our two of the guides for the worm gear, the two screws that are going to hold that in place. These have got an inset, a flat spot on them. Find the part in the case where that fits. That's going to keep it true for the centering of that free spool jack. Go ahead and put that down. Tighten that up. Same thing on the other way. So that slot in this faces inward, about 90 degrees or perpendicular inside. Put the second one on. This is our arm for the free spool release. It faces up. Funny, one of these reels came into me once with this broken off, and I asked the fellow how he broke it off. And he said, I just couldn't get it to go forward, so I used a wrench. Well, you sure did. And, well, it comes out. So that will cause that to fail. All right, put that in. Let's go ahead and get the yoke assembly then. So we have three pieces on the yoke assembly. We have the actual yoke, and that has a tag going to the back of it. So when you go to install your pinion gear, make sure you know that that's the back end. And put a little bit of grease onto that. You have two sides on the carrier. You have a flat side that goes to the back, and you have a grooved side which goes to the front. That's going to intersect with the two forks that are on this spool here. And then we have our main our pinion gear. Pinion gear is going to the back of the reel. You want to do the same thing here. Check to make sure all of the channels are clean and that you don't have an issue with the teeth being bent, chipped, or broken. Go ahead and put the carrier and the yoke on. Sometimes these you said. Remember those two big springs? We said those two big springs now are going to go on each side of that post that we had just installed. Now we're going to want to take the two smaller springs, put them in the carrier. Need more than one hand now, I guess. The free spool release button goes up, and we're going to get the jack ready. Take your yoke, put that over both sides, press down, make sure you don't catch the spring when you're pressing down. That's what's happening with this one side here. The spring is getting caught inside the ring. There we go. Now we're down. You can see that you have the two sides flat now. Take the side with the semicircle in it, put one side in each of those flat grooves for that yoke. Just like that. Line up your jack with the hole for the screw. Tighten that screw down. Okay, that is the assembly the way it should be. And now we have the anti-reverse dog going as well. This operates by pulling this out. That's going to pull back on this carrier. When it pulls back on the carrier, those 4 slots are going to be disengaged from the slots on the spool. So that's how that's working there. And we can put the side plate back on. I think I already put a little bit of grease onto the spool shaft. Doesn't hurt to put a little bit more. Let's bring that in, line it up. And now look for the longer screws in your basket, your parts tray. Again, there's 2 different sizes. The long screws are the ones that go in the crossbars. Just use your hands as a clamp while you're doing this. I'm going to take 2 large ones and go 2 longer screws, go opposite sides. I think I'm lined up there. Then we're going to go with the shorter screws for the bottom. One in the middle. With that set, now let's go ahead and pull this back in and see if we can spin our spool. We can spin our spool nicely. Okay, the 2 shorter screws go in the bottom again. So we're going to make a point of putting those in there so that we don't forget or mix them up. And then we can go over to the remaining 2 long screws for the crossbars. So Ocean City was around from 1922 to 1957, and then their models continued under True Temper for another 15 years or so before they got out of the business. At one point, Ocean City was considered the premier saltwater fishing reel. It started with things like the Ike Waltman Club and the like. And while they got displaced by Penn, who was making a comparable reel with a lower cost. So that's ultimately what put Ocean City out of business. Okay, we're going to grab this, put the star adjuster on now. That'll compress down. If there was any play in the, or lack of play, because we added that shim washer below, this will compress that down now, and then you'll spin free and easy. We hope. And we can put the cap washer there, the handle. I'll clean that handle off as well. Again, this reel's been in pretty good condition. I can take our handle nut. And make sure you thread this starting by hand and make sure it goes in easy. Now if you didn't take that gear sleeve off, you could put a drop of oil in there to keep that shaft lubricated, but if you're doing the service, I would recommend that you do remove the sleeve so that you can clean up any dirt and debris that might be in there. Okay, you want to line up this wrench now with the handle nut, and sometimes you have to back it off a little bit to get it correct. There we go, and then you can tighten down the handle nut wrench nut. And well, we can give it a try now. So we weren't having an issue when the spool was free. We're not having an issue now with that. There's a little bit of play. You might want to just adjust the outside a little bit. And let's see if it turns. Oh, look at that. It turns. So it was that anti-reverse dog that was the issue. Now this reel is turning free and easy, and it's ready to go fishing again. So there you have a nice reel here. And I wish I had the replacement crossbars there to dress it up a little bit, but that doesn't have an effect on the performance of that reel. All right, it spins nice and easy. Now, little known fact, you can do it. I don't recommend it, but you can do it. And that is you can actually close this automatically by turning your handle. You'll see that it will hit that little indentation there, and it can trip. So some people like doing that. I don't. I prefer to open it up and close it manually. But if you want to do that, it was designed that way, and you can do it. Well, I hope you've learned something from that, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. Again, if you like these, please subscribe. If you want to see more, please use that notification button. That'll help you see when I'm posting. To our first responders and essential personnel, thank you. Appreciate everything it is that you do. To everybody, well, take a look at some of these old reels. You're going to learn some lessons from them. They're very interesting in terms of how they were designed. Kind of have interesting lives. We'd like to know why that Bay City emblem was put on upside down, but they have interesting lives. And if reels could talk, you'd be interested to find out what it would tell you. Okay, that's the service. I wish everybody a great day fishing and on the water. And please take care of your reels, keep them serviced so that they don't fail you when by design. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.